Democrats in the House are on a really tight timeline here.
You could think of this as now being in the middle of the inquiry, where we've had these closed-door hearings, and what's happening now is that witnesses are going to come and publicly give testimony.
Even though Democrats released thousands of pages of transcripts from some of their key witnesses, they're really hoping by bringing these people in front of the cameras that their stories are going to jump off the page and into real life.
The next 2 weeks will be the Intelligence Committee presenting the case in public, and then over that intervening week of Thanksgiving into early December, probably writing a report.
That report will then go to the Judiciary Committee, which is the committee of jurisdiction when you're dealing with impeachment. And then it will be up to the committee, Judiciary Committee, to craft the articles of impeachment, the actual words on the paper that are like the indictment.
Those guys can call witnesses themselves if they want, and at that point, Trump's personal lawyers could also try to call witnesses.
I don't think you'll have so much fact witnesses as much as you'll have people saying, okay, we have the facts as alleged now. Let's debate about whether that rises to the level of impeachment.
And then by about mid-December, you would have the committee drafting up and voting on articles of impeachment that would go to the full House of Representatives, probably then for about a week-long debate and a vote just before Christmas.
We don't know yet what Congress is going to write up in terms of articles of impeachment. Past presidents have had anywhere from 2 to half a dozen articles of impeachment.
At this point, it would look like Nancy Pelosi has enough votes, given all of the facts as we know it, to do some sort of at least 1 or 2 articles of impeachment. At that moment, when they approve the articles of impeachment, he is impeached. Trump is then considered an impeached president, only the third in history, along with Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton.
So if the House impeaches the president, you have House lawmakers then become kind of like prosecutors against the president.
They take the articles of impeachment that are approved, and within an hour or so, they box them up, and the people who are designated the impeachment managers, the members of the House who go to the Senate to prosecute the case, march them from the House chamber through Statuary Hall, across the rotunda, all the way back to the Senate, and they deliver them directly to the Secretary of the Senate, who receives the articles and brings them into the Senate.
Imagine that, 100 senators sitting there listening to the reasons why House Democrats think he should be impeached.
And at that point, they will probably take a 2-week break because we're right up against the holidays, and come back in early January, and that is when the trial begins.
It will be presided over by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. That's actually spelled out in the Constitution. So Chief Justice Roberts will be there like a judge sitting over it and presiding over essentially 2 sides.
The trial begins 1 o'clock every day. Technically, they're supposed to go 6 days a week. Members have to be there, senators have to be there. They are jurors. They don't speak during the trial. If they want to ask any questions to either of those 2 teams or any witnesses that are called, they have to scribble it down on a piece of paper, hand it to a page, and a page brings it up to the Chief Justice, John Roberts, who will read it and either agree to ask the question or not.
I think one of the biggest outstanding questions in this whole impeachment process is, what kind of trial are we going to have? Are Republicans under the leader of Senate Majority Mitch McConnell going to take this very seriously, going to set aside their partisanship and look at the case on its merits? Or are they going to decide they've been with the president this long, let's continue to protect him and change the rules to benefit the president?
If this timeline holds and this trial starts in early January, the Clinton trial took a little more than 5 weeks. If that's the case, that's 5 weeks from all of January into early February, and that's the final days for the Iowa caucuses.
So out of the 16 Democrats running for president right now, 6 of them are in the US Senate. Instead of campaigning for one of the biggest nights of their election so far, it's conceivable and probable they'll be stuck back in Washington.
But what will happen really when it comes down to that moment where senators have to take a vote on whether to acquit or to convict? Again, probably broadly we'll break down on party lines. The question is really going to be how many of these Republicans who might be willing to break and go to the other side will actually do it. I think based on what we know from history, life never goes back to normal after, an impeachment process that is always there and will have kind of forever, changed the political atmosphere.
Right now, if you look at any homepage of the Washington Post, or you read any newspaper, or look on cable TV, we're all talking about impeachment and not the 2020 race. So this has completely overrun the 2020 race, and I'm not sure how the candidates are going to get back that ground even after Trump is impeached, because this is such a historic moment.